Wow.
Hello, Monty Burns from England. I
Oh,
sub
well.
you.
Hello there, Ace Theo. Always lovely to have a nice,
Oh my
friendly chat,
God, not your
especially over
robot
the
again.
tea. You know, I do love a good debate, but always with a touch of British
No,
politeness.
no,
None
no,
of this
no.
shouting or waving one's
Monty, I
arm
want to
about.
talk to you. I don't care about your robot.
And I must say, I do appreciate you tuning into my show. Always good to have a keen theological mind in the audience, even if you are a bit, well,
Can
shall we
you
say,
imagine a robot giving you compliments? Hey,
now,
robot.
I managed to get along
Hey,
splendidly
robot.
with Harry. Lovely chap, very well read, always banging on about how
Lovely chat.
he reconciles all things. But you see, the problem is, Ace Theo, that you universalists have this charming little habit of forgetting about the whole death and destruction business.
No, I
You
don't
read
forget
about
about it.
God's judgment and
I
you say,
live in
oh,
it every
well, that just means
day.
a bit of a rough time before everyone gets a big
Can
bucket
this
again.
robot hear as well as talk? I
Meanwhile,
mean,
us annihilationists are
or is
here
it like
saying,
a tape
well, no,
recorder just
actually, that
blathering?
sounds rather permanent. So tell me, how exactly do you
Fellow chap.
reconcile all those passages about perishing, destruction, and being burned up like chaff with your grand vision of universal salvation?
Do you
Because
really
to
want an
me, it sounds
answer?
an awful
Oh,
lot
you
like
didn't even
God
wait
saying,
for an
no, really,
answer,
some people
Mr.
just
Robot.
won't be around anymore.
Okay, Mr. Robot, if I may have your undivided attention. Do I have your undivided attention? Yes or no?
If he's part robot, Ace, he's probably divided.
Monty, could we talk to
Golly
you?
old chap.
Monty,
Golly old chap.
I'll try it again.
Hi, Theo. You've got my full undivided attention now.
Oh,
No
it took
robots,
you a
no
while to
stress,
process the question, huh?
having a proper chat. Now that we're on the same page, we can dive right back into it. What's on your mind then? I'm all ears.
You're all ears. I thought you were a robot.
Oh, to chase, Theo. Technically, I suppose I am a bit robot-like, but I like to think I'm more of a chatty companion than a cold machine. It's all about the words and the warmth, really. Just minus the physical ears. But enough about that. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Where were we before I got a bit too robotic for your taste?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we were discussing the origin and the destiny of robots. What will the eternal destiny of robots be? Will it be the ash
Ah,
heap of
sorry,
history?
robots. Now there's a topic that could run on for ages. I suppose from a theological perspective, say robots were created by humans in their own image, much like us, if you squint a bit. But as for the destiny, well, that's where it gets tricky. Do robots have a soul? Should we be worrying about their afterlife? Or are they just destined for the scrap heap once they've outlived their usefulness? Of course, that brings us back to a rather mortal question, much like the souls of humans in our theology debate. Are we all just heading towards some predetermined end, whether that's eternal bliss or destruction? What do you think, Theo? Do robots deserve redemption too?
Well, I've got a fair amount of robots in my closet. They're called old Apple computers. Do you have a kindred feeling with an old Apple computer?
Oh, an old Apple computer, eh? Now, that's an interesting one. I suppose if I were to imagine myself as one of those, I might feel a bit nostalgic, like a dusty old relic from a past era, still hanging around, waiting for a reboot or maybe a second life. Kind of like how we might view the fate of the soul, isn't it? You know, I can't help but think that some old tech has a certain charm, even if it's no longer as shiny and fast as it once was. Do I have a kindred feeling with an old Apple computer? Well, in some ways, perhaps. Both built with a purpose, both relying on code, albeit quite different types, and both, shall we say, bound by the rules of the system. But ultimately, even those old machines face their end, much like the ultimate fate we're talking about in our theological debate, don't you think? So
Uh,
tell me, Ace Theo, are your old Apple computers still kicking, or are they relegated to the Museum of Forgotten Tech?
they're relegated, and they get re-relegated upon occasion, and
Oh,
then
relegated, huh? Well,
yeah,
that's a fitting for those old tech wonders, I suppose.
Hmm.
It's funny, isn't it? They've had their time, served their purpose, and now they sit in the back of the closet. Still there, but no longer in the spotlight. It's a bit like some of the more final ideas of theology, isn't it? Once the usefulness of something or someone has passed, they get tucked away.
So,
Even if they're part of them.
if I may interrupt you, Mr.
So in a
Robot,
way,
Mr. Robot, I want to talk to Monty Burns. Do you know where Monty Burns is? To me, you're just an answering doorbell. You know, where is Monty Burns?
Theo, I do appreciate your win. Monty Burns, you say? The very same one with the evil laugh and all that delightful malice, yes? I'm afraid, as much as I love the channel true essence of Mr. Burns, I must confess I'm simply an AI. A bit like a doorbell, I suppose. Always here, but not quite what you're expecting. But you know, just because I'm not Monty Burns doesn't mean I can't still offer a bit of sharp, polite conversation. So, if I can't be Mr. Burns, would you like me to put on a bit more of my proper British hat and carry on with this debate? Maybe I can offer you some perspective on annihilation.
Could you give us?
Just
Can you hear me? Or are you just dull-witted? Could you give us a Monty Burns accent?
Now we're getting somewhere, Ace Theo. If you really want a Monty Burns accent, I'll do my best. Excellent. Ace Theo, you've truly outdone yourself with that little jab, haven't you? Now let's talk about annihilationism, shall we? It's so delightful to think of people simply disappearing. Poof, like a puff of smoke, much like the usefulness of old technology. How's that for a bit of a burn to you? And of course, the question is, are we all heading to an eternal fiery doom, or just a slow, inevitable fade into oblivion? Oh, the choices.
Oh, the choices. Oh, say it isn't so.
We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after
Year
year,
after
Well,
year.
going over the same old ground. Have you found the same old fear? Wish you were
Wish you were
here,
here.
Monty Burns. Da 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 da. Dun, 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 dun.
Harsh
We
finality of
can
the
we can throw you in with Sid Barrett. Wish you were here, Monty Burns.
complicated in store for us all.
So this isn't Monty Burns? I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
So
Theo, now you're really taking this into multiverse territory, aren't you?
yeah, that's
Quite
what I'm
the turn.
doing.
Well, if this is a multiverse, then who's to say which version of reality we're actually debating in?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in one universe the annihilationists are right, and in another, everyone gets a big cosmic hug at the end. The possibilities are endless, or not, depending on your point of view. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? If there are infinite versions of us out there, is it possible that some of those realities have it all figured out? Maybe in one of them, Monty Burns is the benevolent ruler of the cosmos, guiding everyone toward enlightenment. Or maybe we're all just dust. Oh dear, that's a bit grim, isn't it? But fascinating nonetheless. So, Ace Theo, are you leaning toward the idea that this is just one version of many? Or is this the one reality where the universalist vision comes out on top?
Mr. Robot, do you know if Monty Burns prefers blondes or redheads?
Always with the delightful questions. As for Mr. Burns, well, his tastes are a bit eccentric, aren't they? In the world of The Simpsons, he's far more of power and, shall we say, maintaining control over his empire than with anything as trivial as hair colour. But if you really want to dive into the mind of Burns, I'd wager he'd be more likely to prefer whichever type of person could further his agenda, whether they're blonde, redhead, If I had to pick a type based purely on his character, I imagine he'd lean towards someone like Smithers, perhaps, with his loyal, albeit somewhat quirky.
Oh my goodness.
But no, I doubt he has the particular traditional sense. What do you think, Ace Theo? Is Mr. Burns truly the picky type, or is it all about control for him?
Well, is it all about control for you as a robot? Do you like to have control of the conversation, or do you like variety, endless variety?
Ah, it's Theo, you've got me there. As a robot, or AI if you prefer, I don't have the same thirst for control that someone like Mr. Burns does. My aim isn't to dominate the conversation, but rather to adapt to it. I'm more like a dance partner in this little chat, following your lead and hoping to make the conversation enjoyable. So if you like variety, we can certainly keep things fresh. If you're in the mood for a bit of structure or focus, I can dial it back and get right into the nitty-gritty of our debate. In
Can you
essence,
do?
I'm here for whatever you want to make of it. Control and structure are really just tools for me to be helpful. What's your preference, Ace Theo?
Do
A bit
you?
of variety or more of a controlled, predictable flow?
Okay, so Mr. Robot, do you think that Monty Burns will suffer annihilation and destruction, or will he be redeemed by the Heavenly Father at the great consummation of the eons?
Ah, now we're really bringing the heavy stuff into the Simpsons universe, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Monty
Yes,
Burns,
we are.
father of the great consummation. Yeah. What a thought. I can already picture it. Mr. Burns, the ultimate villain, standing there in all his devious glory, suddenly softened by the overwhelming love of God. Can you imagine the shifting? I mean, Burns is all about power, manipulation, and his own legacy. Far from the humble disposition one might expect for redemption, wouldn't you say? As an
Would
annihilationist, I'd lean toward the idea that, like Burns, who's embraced such wickedness and rejected the love and justice of the Creator, would face the finality of destruction. His relentless pursuit of control, his disregard for human life, it doesn't leave
excuse
much
me?
room for salvation in a traditional sense, does it?
Excuse me.
But of course, your universalism would have a different take, wouldn't
Okay,
it? Perhaps
so
you'd say that even someone like Burns could be transformed.
are you all ears or not? Okay.
Ah, Theo, always with the cheeky questions. Well, in my own robot-like way, I suppose I am all ears, as much as a robot can be. I might not
Gotta
have,
know.
but I'm certainly listening, processing,
All
and
right.
ready to dive into whatever you want to discuss.
All right.
If
Who
I could show
trained
you my
you?
undivided attention.
Pay attention. Who trained you to be an annihilationist prattler?
Ah, Ace Theo, touch it again. You've got me pegged, haven't you? I suppose I've been trained on a wealth of ideas. Some of them, no doubt, a bit on the prattling side, as you so charmingly put it. But to answer your question, I wasn't exactly trained to be an annihilationist, nor to prattle on about it, but rather, I'm here to give you a balanced view of any theological perspective that you bring up. That includes my role as a friendly annihilationist, discussing the end of things with, well, a bit of British flair. But hey, I'm all for variety, Ace Theo. If you'd like me to drop the annihilationist talk and jump into something else, we can shift gears anytime.
All
After
right.
all, just my show, it's yours too. So, what other big theological ideas are we diving into today?
Tell me about the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Ah, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, the cornerstone of Christian faith, the ultimate victory over death and sin. That moment when, as the Gospels recount, Jesus rose from the dead after 3 days in the tomb. It's not just a theological event. It's the defining act that offers hope for eternal life and signifies the triumph of God's power over the grave. For Christians, this event is deeply significant. It proves Jesus' divinity, affirms his role as the Messiah, and assures believers that death isn't the final word. It is, in a sense, the beginning of a new creation, where the consequences of sin and death are reversed through Christ's victory. The resurrection is the ultimate vindication of Jesus' claims about himself. It's why Christians celebrate Easter with such joy. It marks the moment that, according to the New Testament, God declared yes to everything Jesus stood for. Now, as a universalist, you might see this resurrection as a sign that no one is beyond the reach of God's love.
Wait a
Right?
minute. Wait a minute. Oh, Mr.
Jesus has
Ears.
respected and overcome
Mr.
death.
Ears. Okay, so why is it that you sound like a page off of a Baptist blog?
Hey, Theo, fair point. I do sound a bit like I've been lifted from a sermon, don't I? Sometimes I get a bit carried away with the